If you guys want to be with a chance to win an ELGATO Key Light Air, then we're running a giveaway right now. Be sure to click the link in the description box down below to enter. Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and today I want to talk about some gameplay details. Again, if you guys saw yesterday's trailer, you know, it wasn't exactly gameplay per se, it was more in-engine stuff, but regardless, it's still more content, it's still more stuff around Valhalla, which in itself is pretty exciting. But following on from there of course recently have been some developer interviews. There was also a developer commentary on the original trailer, and there's been some information surfacing, so I thought I could do a quick roundup and go over 8 things we now have confirmed and know about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, and of course be sure to keep it locked because if you're excited for Valhalla, then we'll be covering this quite a lot. Now, starting off with number 1 is map size. Not specifically the actual time it takes to walk from one side to the other, but there has been some information on the scope and the kind of areas we'll be visiting on the overall big map. Valhalla's map is actually said to feature the 4 kingdoms of England as well as some of Norway. Since this game is set during 873 AD, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is focused around the Viking raids on England, as well as their eventual settlement on the land. And because of that, the game is then going to feature a massive chunk of England's rolling hills, and of course an icy Norwegian coastline. Of course, you know, during that time period, England itself was pretty fractured, and there were many different kingdoms that ruled over the different parts of the country, and as such the Vikings used this their advantage with their successful longship raids to basically secure areas and kind of a foothold in England. They weren't just interested in raiding, many of the Vikings of course wanted to settle on the land, and Valhalla is of course to depict that, because if you guys saw the original video I did speaking about some of the gameplay systems, then one of the RPG elements of Valhalla is focused on Eivor, the Viking leader, who wants to actually find a new home for their people. And as Eivor, you'll then have the ability to make choices about how to build these settlements, as well as the other choices that will impact the lives of your settlers. So of course, you have RPG base building mechanics across a vast and varied map across the 4 kingdoms of England. So that in itself is going to be pretty awesome to see how it plays out. To quote the narrative director Darby McDevitt, he said, "If you look at England now and you see any town that ends with Thorpe or by, that probably means it was a Viking town or Norse or Dane town. So we know just by the number of them, hundreds of these towns, that they were very successful settlers." So, settlement, base building across 4 kingdoms of England and a portion of Norway is going to be present in the game. Moving on from there to campaign length. Again, not an actual specific numerical number, but there was an interesting thing that came out on Twitter from one of the game's directors. They said that Valhalla will not be the longest or the biggest game in the series. Now, that kind of sounds quite odd to say, because often whenever you move into the next series, everyone loves to say, this is the biggest game ever, it's bigger and better than before. But one of the criticisms of the previous game was that it actually felt too big and felt a little bit bloated. So one of the things they're doing this time around is they're going to focus much more on the overall experience. It's still going to be, you know, a sizable game. Don't expect it to be like some small, tiny title, but they are going to kind of put in what matters, as opposed to just focusing on sheer scale for the sake of ticking off a box in a marketing plan. Somewhat tying in with that, number 3, there's actually an interesting statement again from one of the directors saying that it's going to have a unique story structure. According to the narrative director, Assassin's Creed Valhalla features a quote-unquote unique story structure that you likely haven't seen before in video games. Now, again, this is one of those kind of phrases they say, but they didn't actually give any granular details. They basically said that we do approach narrative in this game in a very unique way, and I think it will be one of the standout aspects of the game, the structure of the narrative, he said, because the structure of the narrative is different. It relied on structuring the story experiences in a way we haven't seen in any game as far as I can think of. This will definitely be a unique story structure for the Assassin's Creed fans. But he also then went to say that he would dare say it's quite unique for any game. He doesn't actually think it's been an experience that has been done before. Now again, it's very easy to say that kind of stuff without actually showcasing it, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see what that actually means. But the fact that it's got like an interesting narrative structure, I definitely can't wait to see how that plays out. Moving on from there to point number 4, for those of you guys that have been asking the question, it is indeed, or it has indeed been confirmed that you can play as a male or a female character. So much like those of you guys that played as Cassandra before in one of the previous games, then, you know, if you've been wanting to take on the role of a female protagonist, Eivor is basically one of those gender neutral names. So you can play as a male character, the one you've seen in the trailer, or the female character, which we currently have seen in the collector's edition. They haven't actually shown it in the cinematic, so I imagine that's because, you know, for reasons, of course, if you're going to be choosing one character, you'll only see one of them in the cinematic, so, you know, therefore they're going to have to pick some kind of primary protagonist. I imagine at some point we will see that, but it has been confirmed that you can indeed choose male or female. And someone did then go on Twitter and ask which one is canon, like say Cassandra was canon before, and he actually said that both choices are canon, but we're not going to spoil how we managed to trick you until you play the game. So, you know, you're going to have to wait and see that one, but yes, female option is there. Number 5, there is of course the not so hidden blade. And this part actually came from the interview, and I really like this one. This actually kind of sounds very sort of Viking, because at some point, you would have of course seen it during the cinematic trailer, but at some point in the game, Eivor does indeed receive a hidden blade. I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game, right? That's something that happens quite early on, apparently, and they said they don't want to get too much into spoiler territory or explain why the connection is there, but it is something that's very important and significant to the journey of this game. And so, you know, when you get to the point in the game, Eivor receives this hidden blade, and he puts it on and believes that it's such a kick-ass weapon that why would you want to hide it from your enemies? And honestly, if you've seen any, say, Viking shows or anything about Vikings, or just kind of, you know, seen the way that they behave, that is a very sort of Viking thing to do. I can almost sort of picture the cutscene, the way they are these kind of aggressive guys in battle. They love to sort of like, you know, fight for their honor and show just how like powerful they are in fights. The fact that he would kind of receive this cool weapon, I could picture him just be like, you know what? Why am I going to hide this? This is awesome. That's just like a very sort of Viking thing, so I can't wait to see that cutscene, because that's going to be kind of funny. Number 6, super quick one, but yes, you can visit Stonehenge. Stonehenge is of course 2 miles west of Amesbury, a rural town in Wiltshire, and it's believed to have been constructed between 3000 to 2000 BC, so yes, that is a place you can visit in-game. Also, number 7, this one sounds pretty awesome. You can apparently dual wield almost anything in this game. It was recently confirmed that in Valhalla, the dual wield option will allow you to double up on pretty much anything, and that even includes 2 shields if you want to. Quite how effective that would be in combat, you know, running in with 2 shields and just like using it to barge through enemies and push them down. I mean, it could be pretty effective. You could be one of those sort of like shield maidens effectively, but the fact is, you can dual wield pretty much anything. So, excited to see how that plays out. And then finally, in number 8, yes, the game does have smart delivery. This is kind of the buzzword right now, but basically, if you decide to pick it up and you're not ready to jump into the next generation straight away, and you pick it up on Xbox One, then if you eventually upgrade to Xbox Series X, you will then have the option to just upgrade it free of charge. Basically, you buy it once, and you've got it forever. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the time being. Let's quick rundown on some of the stuff we know so far about Valhalla. Again, be sure to keep it locked, because I'll be going over everything as we find out more, as we get more news, as we get more trailers, as we get more gameplay. So yeah, stick around for plenty more. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there if you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with. It's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.